Hello everybody, welcome to Everyman Prepping. And yes, there's boots on the ground in Ukraine, US boots on the ground. Plus we're going to discuss other hotspots around the world that are really heating up right now that we all need to look at because it's all catching fire at once and ramping up rapidly. So please like the video, subscribe if you haven't done so. If you have subscribed, thank you so much. Everybody ring that bell so you can get alerts on the new videos that are coming up. And please comment and share this video with everybody that you think might need to hear some of what's going on. So to start off here, we have the Pentagon confirms that US boots are on the ground in the Ukraine. So we probably all thought that there was probably some special forces, Delta, SEAL teams, maybe providing some intel on the ground, but that's never heard of. It's never admitted to. So why are we admitting to this? There's a few reasons I can come up with why the Pentagon is finally putting out that, yeah, we have troops in Ukraine. Now, they say it's for weapons inspections. You know, we sent all this gear over there and weapons and money and armaments, and we want to make sure that the Ukrainian government is getting these weapons to the front line. They're not ending up on the black market. They're not going to terrorists, which seems like a lot of them are. So they said these troops are just there to do that. They're not in combat roles. They're not near the front lines, they say. They're just there to inspect weapons. One of the problems with this is other wars. Vietnam comes to mind right away. We started as an advisory role there. We were there to advise the South Vietnamese on what they should be doing, and we said we weren't non-combative. Basically, it's to get a foothold. We're moving the goalposts. The goalposts are moving closer and closer to just the U.S. engaging Russia directly. Now, these soldiers, military that are inspecting these weapons or so forth, are therefore near ammo dumps. What has Russia been destroying? Ammo dumps. You go after the ammunition. You go for infrastructure. And that's where these troops are supposedly going to be stationed. Where all these shipments are, where they're, the front lines, going to the front lines, making sure the weapons get there. Well, those are getting blown up and attacked. So are these human shields, basically? Is the government saying, we're going to put some American troops near these ammunition depots because the Russians won't attack them then because they'll be attacking Americans. Thus, they're using our troops as human shields. Not a very good thing if that's what's happening. Or, much worse is, if they're willing to sacrifice some of these troops to then start the war directly with Russia. They put the troops there, and then some get killed, and then, the administration goes to the American people and says, we got to strike back. They killed Americans. We have to make them pay. Hey, you, 101st Airborne, that just happens to be right there in Romania, right there very close to Ukraine. Why don't you, go across that border and, do a couple raids and, pay the Russians back and take out some of their guys. And then it just escalates from there and goes up and up, from there. So is this what's going on there? Is this a foothold for that? Either way, it's not a good situation to have boots on the ground there. It's only going to push us closer to direct engagement with Russia, which is most likely going to happen. I know a lot of people, especially the ones that don't pay attention closely to the news or just going about think there's no way that'll ever happen. I think it's going to happen. It's probably going to escalate from there. And as you can see, here we have Dmitri Medvedev. And he put out this on his Telegram channel, much like I did a community post on this, that says, to Western countries, he says, quote, Russia cannot be allowed to win the war. And he says, what does that mean? He says, if Russia doesn't win, then obviously Ukraine wins. So that's saying down here that this is basically, that is their rejection from Russia. And then he says, if this happens, if Ukraine wins, they get their territories back, that this is a threat to the existence of the state and the collapse of today's Russia. And then he mentions Clause 19 of the Fundamental State Policy. He's basically saying, he's very careful here in his wording, he didn't just put this out without knowing what he's doing, that if Ukraine takes any of those territories back, it's a threat to the existence of Russia. And they have said before that their nuclear doctrine says if there is a threat to the existence of Russia, they can use nukes. So this is basically Dmitri Medvedev saying, we're going to launch nuclear weapons if you take back any of those territories. In the last paragraph, he blames Ukraine and NATO for this. He says, you're going to start the nuclear war because you're going to try to take these territories back, so it's your fault there's a nuclear war. So keep that in mind. That's ramping up even further about this nuclear possibility that might happen that no one wants. Now, moving on from Russia and that boiling point, what engaging the United States directly, we go to our favorite North Korean, Kim Jong-il, and what he's been doing. This is the most active that North Korea has been in years with launching missiles, maybe in decades. North Korea launched 23 missiles as he escalates. And why is he launching all these missiles? And that's 23 missiles in a day. So he's launching these because South Korea is doing a giant war games drill with the United States, with planes, warships, do what the North Korea thinks is a mock invasion drill. So they launched missiles in retaliation. They also launched not only 23 missiles, they also did over 100 rounds of artillery. One of these missiles got very close to South Korea in their exclusive zone. So then what's South Korea do? They then launch more missiles of their own. Say, oh, you launch missiles, we can launch missiles. It's like toddlers on a playground. You do this to me, I'm going to do this. Oh, yeah, well, I can shoot this too. Well, I can shoot this. They're just going back and forth. What's going to happen? One day, someone's actually going to hit the other country's soldiers, mainland, and that's going to spark a huge escalation there. Plus, Kim Jong-il came out and said, when he said about he said that, when you're doing these drills, he takes that as a threat, and he said, we will use nuclear weapons to defeat that threat. So, obviously Kim Jong-il is even less stable than Putin and Russia in nuclear threats. You don't want that regime, the North Korean regime, to, with their finger on nuclear weapons, to feel like they've been threatened enough where they say, screw it, we're going to nuke South Korea, and we're going to launch a few at the west coast of the United States. So we got that tinderbox going crazy over there. Then we'll switch over to here. So the U.S. is on alert over an imminent attack from Iran on Saudi Arabia. That's all we need, right? If anything happens on Saudi Arabia with the oil refineries, they've been attacked before by drones. If Iran does attack and hits these oil fields, even though it won't really do much to the full production, even if they don't do much, they just hit a few spots, will it really curb that much production of oil? No, probably not, but it's the psychological effect. You want to see oil prices shoot well over $100 overnight? Let Iran do this. So somehow Saudi Arabia has intel that they think that Iran's going to attack them and blow up a refinery or do something, and then cause the oil to go up. This will of course then involve Israel, possibly, and definitely the United States. So it's another just hot spot ready to go off. Could any of these be false flag attacks? Of course they could. Could Saudi Arabia, do something within their own country to blame Iran, jack of oil prices? Yeah, total possibility. But the fact that all these three, the heightened Ukrainian, Russian, U.S. involvement now, the North and South Korea, and then you got Iran, Saudi Arabia, Greece, Turkey. Let's not forget to mention, we talked about the other day, Russia is blaming the UK for Nord Stream 1 and 2 and the attack in the Black Sea. They're not going to let that go idle. There's going to be retaliation for that. What do they do? Do they do something to the UK? Do they do something to NATO? But something's going to come of that, because they're not going to let that stand. So we got that waiting for that shoe to drop. The U.S. just sent an aircraft carrier to dock in one of the British ports as kind of another, human shield or something, say, they won't attack here because there's a U.S. aircraft carrier. Eventually it's going to come down where there's going to be kinetic exchange between the U.S. and Russia, maybe Iran, who knows, North Korea, South. It's all building tension. Something's going to happen. So just keep up on the news, keep advised of this, hug your children, enjoy your family and your friends, because it's not slowing down. It's getting to a boiling point. You can feel the energy. You can just feel something's about ready to break more than it has. And the West, the U.S., they're soft for war over here. Nothing's happened on mainland. Nothing's even happened in a great cyber attack. Nothing's happened. When that point happens, you're going to see a lot of people just break with reality. So keep informed. Comment below with what you're seeing, what you think is happening. Share this with people that need to know what's going on, so they can be informed and not surprised when something, the other shoe does drop, basically. So till next time, keep your ear to the ground and head on a swivel.